and a 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2, 3. Hello and welcome to When Will It End, a podcast where me and Charles Hobby, my co-host, my friend, my confidant, we watch a series of movies and we ask, has the series gotten immeasurably terrible, or has it somehow pulled out longevity despite everything working against it?
Ultimately.
Right.
Wait, can I say? I don't really know how podcasting works. Am I allowed to? You mentioned my name.
Yeah, you're in. You're a co-host.
Right.
You can banter whenever you want to.
Oh, that's so good.
The door is open for you, my friend.
If we ever get a guest,
Yeah.
they have to shut up until. Is
I
that
think
right?
general podcasting etiquette is that you wait for your introduction. Yeah.
Is that like etiquette born from other things?
Emily Post.
Emily Post, famous
Yes,
podcaster.
right.
What do you think her podcast would be about?
People being fucking rude and shit.
Yeah.
People using the wrong fork at dinners.
All right, so you went the obvious route. I think that's true. I think she would.
Oh, no, sorry. No, it would be a Fortnite. I think Emily Post would probably cover Fortnite.
That's what I was
She'd
looking
do
for.
review Fortnite.
No, but I think
playthrough.
you're wrong. I think she would do an etiquette podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, about forks and
It's more than like
rude people.
Well, we're talking about a movie where there's a lot of interesting etiquette questions because it's a very horny movie.
Let's get.
Okay, let's go to the...
Anyway, ultimately we ask, when will it end?
Right. Or is there a point in the series where we're like, holy shit? And so we're finishing up our Jaws series, which, as you've pointed out, is this sort of ultimate unlikely franchise, and that it was not born of any story that required multiple movies, but it was such an unavoidable blockbuster that it simply would inevitably have sequels.
This is we're going to have some fun today.
Okay, I will say this right off the bat. Jaws 4 is the reason we do this shit. These kinds of movies, like late in the game franchise pieces that like have the thinnest premises and require the sweatiest work to establish what is going on. For some reason, this movie is like practically mystical, and it is such a funny like mutation of the Jaws world. And I loved watching Jaws 4.
Yeah, I think it's right, because there was definitely franchising before Jaws, but I think what Jaws did was it figured out the budget to interest ratio where it could find a smash hit and then spend a little more money on the second one, which gets worse reviews, and then spend way less money on everything else until people start realizing that they don't give a shit anymore. Not that the movies aren't good, which in this case they weren't great.
We just got through Jaws 3, which was an absolute win.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
What's happening now is they're actually like really caring about the worlds they're creating and spending money, more money. But like in the case of certain series, I mean, should we just? Okay. Anyway, I'm just saying. I was going to drop a little hint about what we're going to be doing next, but I won't do that.
Don't tantalize the
I'm
listener.
not going to tantalize. So basically, what I'm thinking is people spending more and more money on franchises that people are actually, in the way of Jaws 1987, people were done with Jaws. And the fact that it was cheap, boring bullshit was like, yeah, we don't need to make any more of these. But now that they're investing money into things, they're like falsely creating interest in stuff that I think people don't care about anymore. Are you bored by that? I can't tell. I got my sunglasses on.
This is very funny.
I can't really tell
things. Charles left his glasses in the car, and he's wearing his non-traditional prescription sunglasses, and looks like Tom Cruise in the mid-'80s, kind of.
That's really great.
If Tom Cruise was like a weedy academic with a shit ton of tattoos. Also, okay, so
I can't really. Whenever I hear there's a pause, I'm like, oh fuck. Is Josh asleep? Is Josh bored?
Often people speculate, does Charles have trouble reading faces? Because he just vibes like that. And in this case, it's going to be very hard for him to understand how I'm emoting back to him, which is not the first time we've encountered this problem, but it's the first time there's been a very physical impediment to that.
And I can't quite see the board. What's it called?
Which is great. Not the board. That's the DAW.
Oh, that's right. The board's right there.
Studio.
I can
Correct.
see the board.
We're getting like a little tour of the old studio. I'll give you a hint. You can see all these things basically from any point in this room, which is more of a cell.
It's so true. Well, I mean, it feels that way for you because
I look at my
prisoner
work
to the craft
in public radio as a young artist, an artist in his garret. You know what I mean? I dream of a world.
I actually don't know what does garret mean.
That's the famous, like a little single window. Oh, the guy's apartment in Pickpocket.
Pickpocket, the Italian
The
film?
Bresson movie.
Bresson.
Not Italian, you
French?
sick fuck. The Bresson. Bresson.
Is that French?
It's extremely French.
I can tell by the way you're
French
raking the syllables over the top of your mouth.
Robert Bresson.
Robert
Bresson.
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 You gotta cut it off. They like cutting off those ends.
Bresson.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was good.
Okay, I'm happy we learned something.
So basically, you're a frog. That's why they call them frogs. Not because they eat frogs' legs,
ribbit.
but when you speak French correctly, You just burst out syllables.
Wow.
Awesome.
That was certainly a burst.
Yeah, that's
I just rewatched Inglourious Bastards last night, so I'm steeped in French accentry.
Well, you're doing great. You should carry this through the rest of your life.
I mean, so far I've said the name of Robert Bresson.
And it sounded perfect.
It's like, where are you? Little Paris?
Oh, wait.
That's what they call this part of Pittsfield, is Little Paris.
This room.
Yeah, this block of
They call this room the red light district, too.
They do, because you can get laid for money here.
You can get laid for money?
For money, baby.
Oh, I thought it was all the red lights.
No. It's a brothel. It's a sex dungeon.
Is a sex. Oh, that's the pizza box.
Right. That's why I pissed in your mouth earlier.
Oh, I thought that was just you saying good morning.
I think the pizza box is gone. There's been a pizza box full of debris in the office next to mine, the empty, abandoned office next to mine for like the entire time I've been.
I'm going to go
space.
check.
Okay, hold on. I'm just going to go check. So I'll vamp for a minute. Today we're talking about Jaws 4, which I think is a kind of a magical point of demarcation for the series, because we often talk about,
Hold the news.
Do you think that was loud?
Hold the news. Is that good? Did that work?
So fucking loud.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
But
hold the news. Also, it's not a fucking phrase. No one says hold the news. Stop the presses. Hold the news.
There's more news that you're not aware of. Actually,
you sound like what's his name from Ed Wood, the psychic.
Yeah.
Hold the news. There is news coming for you now.
Pizza box gone.
Pizza box gone.
Anyway,
yes.
I'm glad you mentioned psychics, because I think that might be a really nice segue back into the land outside of sunglasses and French people and pizza. Jaws 4.
Jaws 4. Okay.
The reason why we're here.
I was saying that this is a major point of demarcation for our entire podcast, because what we didn't realize was going on, we had to pause this movie at the beginning and Google for about 20 minutes what iteration of the Brody family is in this movie. Because as we discovered from trivia and basically weird insinuations in the movie, this movie writes Jaws 3 out of existence.
Which is cool.
Which is so funny. Like without really explaining it. Look, again, we're talking about this came out in 87, 4 years after Jaws 3. Was anyone watching Jaws 4 being like, our MCU era of like, well, at the end of Jaws 3, they winked to this. There's no continuity here.
Wait, can you say that again? How many years passed?
4 years passed.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Why was they doing this?
We watched Jaws 3D on Blu-ray, and it looked like a VHS recovered from the ruins of Stalingrad or something. And
it might have been, though. That's the problem with Blu-rays, is that they don't always. All right, this is a little tech talk.
Oh boy.
Maybe I'm wrong, though.
I don't know.
I don't do any research. But
did techie people who care about details listen to podcasts? There might be some. Okay,
yeah, I think that's a thing.
Could be some blowback on this, but just dive in.
I'm pretty sure they don't always get a nice print when they make the Blu-ray. So they could have literally made the Blu-ray from a VHS copy of this movie.
That's amazing.
So it could have looked better in theaters, is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. It seems unlikely.
Based
on everything we talked about last episode.
Yeah.
Based on where the camera's positioned. It looks like they didn't give a shit. But also the technology they were using. Anyway.
Well, what we're trying to say is that Jaws 4 looks beautiful.
It was
is
refreshing.
Well shot. It looks great. Okay, so this movie is brutally and unfairly maligned. Okay?
Yes.
Doing basic research for Jaws The Revenge, which, by the way, fucking perfect. Not Jaws 4, Jaws : The Revenge.
Wow.
Also, we discovered this. Like many young millennials, we hear tropes where we're like, that can't actually be based in reality. But yes, the tagline, "This time it's personal," comes from this movie. I think I've seen roughly 1,000 sitcoms make fun of that tagline. Mm-hmm. However, it really detracts from how brilliant Jaws 4 is.
Yes.
Because just to be very clear here, in this movie, the theme of the movie is that sharks, specifically are bonded to and despise the Brody family for reasons that are never addressed. I've done a little research on this.
They're addressed.
No. In the book, in the novelization, in the original script, there was a voodoo doctor.
I read about that too.
Whatever.
Can I interrupt briefly just to say how happy, we are so happy and proud of ourselves that we did any research for this episode. Can we start every sentence that has to do with research? I did some research.
Well, I like the idea. Like in 2019, we all know it's like a sweaty man on a couch looking at his phone. So yeah, I didn't go to the fucking archives.
Between masturbation sessions, looking up some stupid fact about Jaws 4.
We would watch chunks of Jaws 4, jack off from the sheer. This is, again, the horniest movie we've ever watched for this podcast.
I think it's the horniest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I've watched a lot of porn.
And you mentioned that a lot, and it's still true. And would you mind muting whatever's on your phone right now? It's upsetting me.
It's nothing.
Is she going to drink that? Oh, she's drinking it.
She's
oh
not.
my God. It
no,
looks
it's
like
her
she's
ass,
drinking.
man.
Oh, it's drinking it.
Here, I'll show you later.
Okay. This movie features a lot of couples being like, but when are we going to fuck?
Yes.
What if we fucked here? I can't wait to fuck later.
But what's cool is that there's no nudity.
Right.
There's like no sexualization of people.
Well, hold on. No,
like
there was a moment where it's Michael Brody,
the main character.
So yeah,
actually, the main character is the other Brody, Mrs. Brody. What's her
that's
name?
true. Put a bit in that.
Okay.
His wife in bed at one point, while he's staring out of a window, staring at the ocean as only a Brody man can. She takes off her panties and goes, "I'll get your mind off that shark," or something like that.
No, but my point is like
that's pretty fucking sexual.
The camera does not sexualize
Hold on,
body.
the camera
obscura.
The camera obscura. This was shot in Thailand. Camera obscura. Look it up.
Yeah, we did the research.
A little pinhole whirls around, and you can.
No, my point is that a worse movie, like say the franchises that we know and that come after this, are like succumb to using tits and ass to make people want to come see the movie. Like all those horror movies. Like I was watching. It was really weird. I was getting a tattoo, and they were showing Return of the Dead.
I don't know.
There's one.
You were the one doing that, so I can't speak.
Sorry,
to that. Yeah.
I was hoping you'd have a telepathic link in the same way
Much
that
like the sharks and yeah.
There's a scene, like the opening scene of one of the zombie movies in some zombie franchise, just starts off with cheerleaders getting naked. And it's like this movie had not fallen to that level, and it's very sexy. But all the people remain people, which I really liked. Like the sexiest Mrs. Brody ever gets is. She's just like standing in like a halter top and overalls, and I was like, "Oh, you can see a little skin there."
Yeah, that's true. Well, in that case, that's the young Miss Brody. That's Michael's wife.
But like basically, everyone looks good but isn't sexualized.
Okay, well, something we noticed though about appearances is that it's Lorraine Gary. I've been saying it wrong. Fuck me. Sorry, everybody.
What have you been saying?
Gray. Lorraine Gary is Ellen Brody.
Oh,
the dead chief's
Well,
wife.
to me, she's always going to be. After I can't remember.
Lorraine Gray.
Gray, yeah.
She's looking pretty good in this movie, and she's rocking a very 80s fashion statement the entire movie, even in scenes where she's wearing T-shirts, which, again, we're young people. I was born in 1990. I'm a babe. There's still placenta caked over my eyes. She wears shoulder pads the entire movie in every outfit.
We're not sure if she was forced to. Had her shoulders removed. Like what is
they were removed after Jaws,
and then she like felt self-conscious about before, and she was like, "Oh, everyone's gonna notice my no shoulders. I'm gonna wear shoulder pads the entire movie."
Maybe
that was
it's her crutch, you know, like Brad Pitt likes eating in movies.
Yep.
By the way, here's a spoiler for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
God damn it,
he eats in the movie.
Fuck,
I know.
God damn it, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, well, Lorraine Gary hadn't been in the movie.
Gray.
Hadn't been in the movies.
Gary.
Oh, hadn't been in the movies for 8 years before this. She ended an 8-year break to return to her iconic defining role as Ellen Brody. So maybe she came back being like, haven't been on screen in a while. I would like the shoulder pads. I just feel more comfortable.
I did some research.
Okay.
And she was married to the CEO of Universal Studios. So there was a lot of people thinking that they made this movie so she would have a job, which seems really unlikely because she doesn't need a job, and she wasn't acting. Like she, as you said, took an 8-year break. It's not like she was like, "Oh man, I'm not getting the roles that I used to."
Well, I mean, also the idea of nepotism in Hollywood is
outrageous.
I call Hollywood the dream factory.
But I also did some. You've never done. You call it Holly Weird.
Holly Weird. That's so weird because all those stars and they're living in the hills and they're having crazy times and who knows.
I like it when you sing at me.
Who knows?
I did more research.
Wow.
I did more research. I don't know what that's. I was trying to figure out.
It sounds like a mouse running away.
Yeah. Oh God, there's Charles. Where's my cheese?
This was also Lorraine Gary's final movie.
Stop doing research while I'm talking about the research that I already did.
I did this last night. I'm just re-researching it.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I have the IMDb trivia page up on my phone right now.
That's so good.
I know.
Get off your phone.
Shut up.
They offered roles to both Richard Dreyfuss, or as you say, Richard Dreyfuss?
Dreyfuss, yeah.
Yeah. And Roy Scheider. Roy Scheider was supposed to, and as you say, anything other than Roy
Ron
Scheider.
Schneidler. Well, no,
He was supposed to die. It was supposed to be him dying in the opening scene.
Right.
And he just turned it down.
Well, no, the quotes that accompany him talking about Jaws sequels, he's like, I was in Jaws 2 because they fucking bent me over and shoved it up my fat ass. Then Jaws 3 is like, I'd rather be fucking flayed alive by the goddamn Romans than be in fucking Jaws 3. And then Jaws 4 is like, you can split me from stem to stern and eat my innards on camera. I'm not being in Jaws fucking 4. Like, we get it. He really, really did not like sequels. And I think for him being in Jaws 2 was his Vietnam.
Yeah, well, did he go to Vietnam? Like the actual one?
I don't think so.
All right, well, good. At least
He
he had
was in
one.
the movie.
At least he had one.
That's true.
Wait, they let you off the hook for being in the movies?
When you're Ronald Schleibler, then yeah.
Yeah, I guess you'll get whatever you want.
Even from Movie Town.
Yeah. So anyway,
we're talking about the beginning of this movie. Let's actually like lay this out a little bit.
all right, because it has, I think, one of the best opening scenes. It's very different then, but it's equivalent to my enjoyment of watching the first Jaws.
Yeah, totally.
Very different.
It takes us back to the basics. Well, again, okay, we talk about this shows up on all kinds of worst movie of all time lists. This is basically a fine movie hamstrung by an extraordinarily confusing third act and some technical things that do make it very silly.
Well, I did some research.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. There goes that
That
mouse
mouse
again.
ran away again.
Christ, why does he keep coming back?
And right by the camera too.
So weird. The camera?
I always call microphones cameras of the mouth.
That's camera. It just got a huge chunk in my mouth.
Wow.
I just tried that. I did some research.
Oh my
yes.
God.
No, I was trying to remember what I was saying, and I have, even though I've said I did some research multiple times now, it does always bring back the last bit of research that I'm remembering.
Your mind's like an old lawnmower, and you just like keep going to that.
Wait, can you wait? Oh, my own lawn. Yes, there we go. I was gonna say this is weird. I did some research. God damn it! I'm never gonna tell you about the research I did.
Just fucking finish the sentence.
Okay, I did some research. I did some
Fucking cut.
Okay. I did some research and I can't do it.
Just keep going now. Don't go back.
Okay, I did
Just continue forward like a human would.
I did some research and no,
Just keep talking after I make the sound, you fucking psychopath.
it just gets in my brain. Okay.
Next part of the sentence.
Yeah, next part of the sentence. All right. They only made this movie in 6 months or 9 months or something insane. 9 months. It was greenlit in October of 86 and released in July of 87.
Well, look, you got to get this fucking thing out in the summer. But
right, but I'm just saying, like, so this needs special effects budget. This needs time to write a coherent story, and they didn't have any of that.
This is true. They shot in Hawaii. But this is a very important takeaway of the movie. Jaws: The Revenge is a Christmas movie, and I did not realize that, and I was delighted. Because this movie, from the get-go, we talk a lot about how, in a la Shrek 3, you know, you need to expand the world of Jaws.
Shrek the Third.
Fuck!
You're doing so great with Jaws, though.
I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry, Michael. I'm sorry, Eddie. I'm sorry, Cameron. I'm sorry to everyone at DreamWorks. That's Spielberg related to that? So sorry, Steven.
Yeah, sorry, Steven.
And hey, we're doing Jaws 4, which you can't be happy about.
It's Jaws: The Revenge.
Fuck no! Sorry, Lorraine. I'm sorry,
I mean, you should be sorry
Mara
to
Van
Lorraine
Peebles.
anyway.
I'm sorry, Melvin Van
Because
Peebles.
you've been calling her by the wrong name. Your entire
Lorraine
life.
Gary. My entire life as of 2 weeks ago.
Well, I mean, I think it's amped. Your usage of the phrase
That's true.
Lorraine Gray has been much more frequent.
Right. And
But I'm sure when you watch Jaws when you were a little boy, you're calling her Lorraine Gray too.
You're looking into my past and seeing weakness and failure.
Lorraine Gray.
Who are you, my father?
Can I please have your autograph, Lorraine Gray?
I did some research. Okay, so
that mouse. I just keep thinking about the mouse.
he's flying by. So okay, we talk about like a world expansion efforts like Jaws the Third. It's like Shrek the Third. Jesus Christ, where we want to see the world get bigger and then the characters go out into like different circumstances. Right off the bat, we're back in Amity, but it's motherfucking winter time.
It's Christmas.
For the first time, we see Amity in a different season, which for some reason I was like kind of blown away.
No,
by.
I was too, and I think the reason for that is that it's a movie about going in the ocean, and anyone who's lived in New England, or perhaps, you know, a Wyoming, a Colorado, anywhere that's cold sometimes.
There are not massive bodies of water in those states, but go ahead.
I guess, yeah, you're right. Sorry, not Wyoming. Not.
Doesn't matter. The water's cold. People don't go in the water in the winter. That's it, right? That's where you're going with that?
You.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. Come on,
I
man.
think we got it. It's cold. It's frozen.
Right, but I'm saying there's an emotional response when
Yeah.
you're a New Englander being like, there's no fucking way I'm going anywhere near the water today because it's so cold.
Well, unless you're ice fishing.
Yeah, or
those
one
are
of those
for
polar
crazy-
bears.
Polar bear people.
Those people are crazy.
People have polar bear.
Polar bear people.
I love cold. That's what polar bear people say.
Oh my god. Just from Dutch.
From Dutch.
Yeah, the country of Dutch.
Okay, so this movie, we start in the familiar beach resort town, the Martha's Vineyard zone of Amity. And there's a new Brody in uniform. It's Sean Brody, who you may remember as a Texan man in Jaws 3.
No, you won't because that doesn't exist.
Because it never happened.
You might remember as a
child in Jaws.
Consoling his drunken father.
Right. You may remember from Jaws 1 where he's just funneling booze and sitting in despondent glory. His son, him having a cute little, Roy Schleibler, and him having a cute little moment at the dinner table. But he's back now as a happy-go-lucky cop. And
he is happy-go-lucky.
He's got a wife-to-be or something. His Lorraine Gary is so happy. She still has some family members left. It's so nice. They're still in Amity, the place where horror has befallen them. It's indicated at first with just a photo, but later in, I believe there's dialogue. But the original Chief Brody is dead. He died of a heart attack.
Yes.
Now, of course, who did the heart attack? Later, it'll be insinuated that sharks did it. So,
which is really cool, and I do like that they only spent one line of dialogue explaining
the shark did the heart attack. Okay.
You think he died of a heart attack, but he died of fear.
Of sharks.
Shark fear.
Shark fear.
Which is understandable. Sharks are very scary.
Hundreds die every year of shark fear. Google it. Wow. I did research.
I do love, don't do the mouse sound.
Pardon me?
Oh, that's right. The mouse sounds fine. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about the mouse again. I hate the mouse.
Well, I think we all hate the mouse.
What do you think the mouse looks like?
Oh, it definitely looks like was it Jerry? Tom?
Oh, God. I can't remember either.
Jerry. I think Tom's the cat because Tomcat, right?
Yeah.
I think it's Jerry.
Because
is
German
it-
cat.
is it
so
itchy
it's
or scratchy?
Tomcat, German mouse? Is that
Yeah,
a thing?
exactly, because the German are like mice.
Yeah.
When the Allied forces crushed them in Berlin.
So
But
you-
yes, no, you were saying. Okay.
No, you were saying. Okay.
Okay, so so the chief's been killed of shark fear. It happens all the time, and so it's Christmas, and everyone's like, "Well, get home early, Sean, and don't get any shark danger." And he's like, "I'll just go back to the station and check on some things." And the ancient secretary is like, "Oh, Sean, there's a piece of wood on a buoy or something." It's like, "I don't fucking want to do it, please." And he's like, "Go do the fucking buoy."
I love that scene.
Yeah,
I loved it.
It's really cute
because not only is it cute, but it also is like we know what's gonna happen.
Oh, sure.
And he leaves the office twice, and she goes, "Hey!" And then he comes back.
Yeah, the rule of threes. He leaves once, comes back. Leaves second. Leaves
But like
three times.
he's out the door, he's slammed the door, and be like, "That fucking old lady's telling me what to do again." She's like,
Sean!
and then he's like, "What?" And she's like, "Well, the Coast Guard can't do it. You got to do it." And he goes, "Well, wait, what about this guy?" And then he leaves, and she goes,
Sean!
and he goes, "What?" And she goes, "Well, that guy can't do it, so you got to do it." And he goes, "Fuck."
Suck my fucking dick.
He didn't say that.
He didn't say that, no.
No,
But
he saves that dick for his wife, who's so horny.
Right. We can only assume she's as horny as everyone else in this movie. So the movie does begin before all this with like some murky shots of underwater, but no one dies. So the second we cut to
No,
this
and
guy,
it actually cuts to some like, I did some research. There's that mouse. I love him. I'm learning to love him so I can get past it.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Acceptance.
People hated the like family shit. Like they're
Which
like
is crazy to me.
like I read some Roger Ebert reviews and reviews from the Times and the Times from like '87. They're all just like, it's just shark attack and family shit. Shark attack and family shit. Like yes,
Haven't they
that
watched
is
the series?
that is what the movies are
It's
always.
about the Brody family and their cursed relationship with sharks, which it turns out this movie is psychic.
And the opening scene is funny. It's like they're making fish, so it cuts rather than having a shark attack, they're eating fish. And then
it starts with a close-up shot of fish being cooked. There's a lot of good directing and
Yeah.
good shots in this movie. It's directed by Jerry Sargent, who did The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 and some other stuff.
Yeah.
He's not a bad director.
no, some great shots.
I think people we're at a point where I think we've been trained by our franchise experiences to really dive into the mythos and the family stuff and the development of these long-running relationships. And I think people at the time maybe are just like, get to the shark stuff.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because I agree. I think critics were dumb from that time period. Like if you read, I don't know, I read the Roger Ebert review and it's like pathetic. All he does is just sort of like recap the plot and then say things he didn't like about it, which isn't a review. It's just like one man. And I think that's what critics really did feel like their one man opinion was important.
So you're saying now maybe critics are more indebted to like some kind of like narrative or objectivity or some kind of like, was it successful as opposed to did I like it or?
Yes. Yeah, that's sort of the challenges I went through when I was growing from a young boy of 15 who thought my opinion was the God's word.
He said in his film podcast. Go ahead.
Yeah. To just sort of seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. And like, there's this whole scene for Roger Ebert goes through, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and believe that this one shark wants to kill. Like, how many reviews are like, it's ridiculous that the shark swam from Massachusetts to the Bahamas.
Okay, we're talking
in 3 days. It's like, who fucking gives a shit?
The stupidest thing I come up in. I recently read at the suggestion of Charles, Tree of Smoke by Dennis Johnson, which is a fucking overwhelming masterpiece. It's one of the best pieces of fiction I've ever read. And I was reading a bunch of reviews of it as I want to do after reading or watching something. And people's obsession with verisimilitude in fictional work is fascinating to me, where people harp on the details that are obviously unimportant to the progression of a plot that have no bear. Like, how did the shark get from Massachusetts to the Bahamas? Who gives a shit?
It's a magic shark.
It's a magic shark that psychically wants to murder a specific family. You're caught up in its transportation? Are you like, who gives a shit?
And this was every review is like,
why is that important?
It's not. All right.
It doesn't matter to the story. Look, hey, you're watching a movie. There's going to be some fantastical elements because it's a motherfucking movie.
It's light flashing before you.
Right.
Through colored objects.
You're experiencing a hypnotic delusion that we're indulging as a narrative to be moved and entertained by. And people who are caught up, again, I swear to God, this is a very limited spoiler on a very successful, popular American novel, but towards the beginning of Tree of Smoke, a soldier shoots a monkey, and I found a review on Goodreads or Amazon where someone's like,
it was Goodreads.
At that time of day, a monkey would be asleep.
Yeah, and if you did shoot a monkey, it wouldn't
act like that.
It wouldn't do that. It would just die. And soldiers wouldn't shoot a monkey because they'd be too busy thinking about how to win the war.
Right, and it's like
what?
You're watching or experiencing a fictional story.
We're gonna post a picture of this on our Facebook.
It's so crazy. Yeah.
This review, I thought Josh wrote it himself as a joke.
No, but if you're the kind of person who watches Jaws: The Revenge and goes, "Well, the shark can't swim from Cape," fuck yourself.
Go fuck
yourself.
I don't know. I've been saying that my whole life. I don't really know what it means, but in this case,
go fuck yourself.
Really, go fuck yourself in a bad way.
Right?
Wait, no, that's bad. I'm sorry. I don't mean that.
I think about people who are like, I would say this is the dark side of Mystery Science Theater, where I think I kind of despise that show because at the end of the day, it raised a lot of people to be like, I'm inherently smarter than this.
Yes.
And anything about this I can catch about it, I'm just going to harp on. And it's going to make me feel like I scored cheap points on something.
Yes.
It's
I love that. Thank you.
It's unrealistic for a shark to swim from Amity in Martha's Vineyard to the Bahamas. Good, done. You happy? Satisfied? Great,
cool.
Done.
Great.
Fucking shut up about it. No one cares.
You.
Duh. You're a dumb baby.
Go write a book about how smart you are and all the things you know.
Who do you think you are? Peter Benchley, author of Jaws?
No, I don't. Oh, wait, you're not talking to me. I'm sorry.
We're still hypothetically talking.
I'm trying to see your face, and it looked like you were talking to me, but I see now that you were...
I'm over here.
Yeah.
No,
Where?
over here. Here.
Good. I love this bit.
It's pretty good stuff.
Yes,
pretty good stuff.
They can't see that
it's a free show.
It's audio only.
Please email us. Okay, so
why?
Why not?
All
okay,
right.
so this movie basically, so Sean Brody goes, oh, well, I better go take care of the log.
I thank you for bringing us back to the log.
And listen. And he goes out to the log, and he's like, oh, gee, this log sure is stuck. Oh no, a shark. Gets his arm ripped off of him.
This shit rules. This is the kind of shit I was hoping for. Not in Jaws 2, because that was good. But Jaws 3, Jaws 3D, I wasn't sure if you're going to jump
Needlessly
on me.
pedantic? We are. Go ahead.
I wasn't sure. I couldn't tell if you were going to jump
over
on
here.
Me. All right. That movie sucks so hard and sets you up for so many like, oh my God, there's water skiers. Are they going to get killed by a shark? Fuck yes. Oh wait, no, nothing happened. This opening scene, fucking man dealing with a log gets his fucking arm bit off. Hell yes.
Now,
that's what I want.
Can you definitely see that the actor has his arm under a coat? Yes.
Yeah.
Does it really matter? No.
No, because he's acting.
Well,
and
again,
it's so good.
I kept talking about Giallo because like there's this like flood, like the color of the blood in the water, like this like aquamarine water soaked cardinal red, like it's really arch and crazy. And at first, like we're not seeing a lot of the shark. Is that a deliberate choice? Later we'll find out why. Spoiler: the shark looks basically terrible.
It does look bad, and that's I think why people hated this movie. Because when you have a movie where, and that's why the third one did what it did. I think when you're looking at franchises like this, budget and time are things that people probably don't consider, but are hugely important. We're talking 87, no CGI. Everything has to be done practically. They had 6 months to make this movie. It's not going to look good. And that's the problem is this movie is about being afraid. And to be afraid, you have to believe in the thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Which is why the eel is the scariest
Yeah,
part
the more
of the
eel
movie.
jump scare is terrifying.
Do you think they did that on purpose? Be like, fuck, we really fucked this one over.
I think they had to work some kind of actual scare in there. Well, let me say this. We're talking about franchises. This is a movie... I get an audience after 4 years of, not relentlessly checking the internet about a franchise. They're like, oh, right, the shark movie. Hope we're going to get a lot of shark stuff in this. And it's like, what if it was about emotional and psychic trauma that your family is just so soaked in, like, and cycles repeating themselves, and Michael Brody becoming the same shark-obsessed freak, the same secretive, warped, twisted man his father was in the first film. Like, that's what this is about. Like, it's really a moody piece. And honestly, I'm not sure if it's us being nerds or modern viewership, but I love how much time is spent like dealing with like how fucked up this family is.
Yeah, me too. And the shot, like you talked about earlier, where she flings her panties at him. But there's a shot of him standing by the window, it's raining, and just like the patterns the light's making on his naked body.
Well, he stares at the ocean.
Just stares. His eyes are blank. He's just staring out. And just like, yeah, he's got this beautiful, hot, horny wife, and he can't have that anymore.
Well, the thing
all I can think about is the shack.
Jaws 2 and Jaws 3. In Jaws 2, we have like the kids. So there's this whole other subplot of like kids being kids and having fun, okay? In Jaws 3, like totally, basically emotionless, shitty, inconsequential, whatever. This is like a real return to like really stewing in the implications of what life is like for the Brody family, and I love it.
Yeah, and I like that it wasn't using the like Stephen King, Stevens.
The Steves.
Oh, here's my little theory about Steves.
And here's a little theory about a guy named Steve. Go ahead.
They both use drug addiction as like a serious crutch to show problems. And I like that this movie, he's drinking a beer, but that's not a problem. Like he doesn't need the like outward manifestation of his inner turmoil to be apparent. He just is absent and distant, and his family doesn't get to see him as much, not because he's drunk, but because he's got problems.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Well, I also like that, like, there's this conflict where he's still working in the ocean, tagging snails for research with Mario Van Peebles, and his mom's like, you gotta get out of the fucking ocean. She's like, don't go in the fucking ocean.
And he's like, Ma, don't tell me what to do.
You bee. So they're like, Lorraine, Gary, you gotta get the fuck out of Amity. It's like just this blood-soaked nightmare. She goes down. Well, there's a great scene where they come back up for the funeral, for Sean's funeral, and there's like a wordless scene where we watch Michael go speak to his mother, who's been standing on the beach staring outwardly. By the way, the people in that room at her house when they get there are all people from Jaws, the original movie.
Oh, I love that.
Which is great.
Where is the mayor?
The mayor was going to be in this and then died before the movie was made. The actor died. By the way, that is not the saddest actor death we're going to get to today.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
And I would say almost content warning, because like there's some shit about this movie that is crazy upsetting.
I mean, I wouldn't give a content warning.
I'm being fucking glib, man.
But no, people take that seriously, and then they're not
Okay,
going to
if
listen to
you're
the rest of this
listening,
show.
There's a child death.
There is going to be. We're going to talk about a child
really
death.
horrible child death.
Yeah.
Okay, no. Okay, so basically, we're building up towards, all of our excitement has been, we're going to take the Brodies down to the fucking Bahamas, and we're going to meet a little friend of ours. A little friend of ours who is, I don't know, we've been talking for over half an hour, and we have not gotten to this yet.
I know, because
But
we have to
ladies
save it.
And gentlemen, when we get to the Bahamas, we
Wait,
need a
but can I
man.
get that? Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Because I do want to talk about pre-Bahamas.
Okay.
I liked that they didn't belabor why they were going to the Bahamas. They had one throwaway line of, oh, the water's warm, sharks don't go there. And she's like, oh, okay. But like,
Well, that's where he works.
right, but it's just like, obviously you're going to a place where there's so much water. Go somewhere else. And like, again, like you could get belabored with this like thinking of, wait, that doesn't make any sense why a person who's afraid of the water would go to the water. But they're just like, well, obviously for the movie to work, we need it to be in water. So we'll have one line where it's like, oh, it's hot. And she goes, oh, okay. I'm happy now. I like that.
Yeah, they confront it, deal with it, move on.
Yeah.
But most importantly, the reason they move on is because we get to the Bahamas and we meet a special friend. And we've made some special friends along the way in this podcast.
Oh, my God.
But I would argue the man we met last night was maybe the specialist of them all. Ladies and gentlemen, the bravura performance of a definitely awake on his feet and earning a paycheck, Michael Caine, as Hoagie. 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 Hoagie.
We just want sandwiches.
We want sandwiches.
I do like that they literally boxed out his they called attention to his name and put it in a box.
In the trailer, they box out his name in the credits at the end so that all you can see is Michael Caine, basically. It's so fucking
it's like,
sick.
What is it called? Redacted?
They essentially redacted
they
all
They unredacted Michael Caine.
So, okay, you want to do a whole stunt casting. You want to get a big name for your movie.
Right, because everyone else is saying, get the fuck away from me. Do not call me ever again.
Because on paper, Jaws the Revenge, a.k.a. Jaws 4, there's no universe where like any actor worth their salt is going to be like, yep, I'm putting down my stakes on the 4th installment of Jaws.
Right.
And again, this critically was savaged, so I get that.
As was one of the main stars.
Oh, no. So Michael Caine shows up, and there's a lot of lore about this. There's this period of his life where he was making movies just for paychecks pretty transparently, like in a way that, like, I think, again, this is an era before streaming, an era before the wide availability of home video. I think as an actor, you could safely say in the mid-'70s to mid-'80s, yeah, whatever, I'll be in this fucking movie. No one's going to see it.
Right. That is actually a really cool point. Because now you have to like really think about your career choices because it's everywhere.
Right.
But back then it was like, yeah, this is going to come out and it's going to go away.
Right. It'll be here and gone. It has a half-life that's very defined.
When was VHS?
Mikey, not anymore.
VHS came out. Fuck, we should have done more research because this is interesting.
We'll do some research on your 52 right now. So Michael Caine.
I got to keep that video paused.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's at a really good point.
Oh, Lord. It looks kind of like the end of Jaws 4. Okay. So Michael Caine in this movie is awake and on set.
Oh, yeah.
And getting through those lines.
Yeah.
He is just getting through them. It's a lovely performance where I would say on a scale of intensity from 0 being unconscious and 10 being Matthew McConaughey in the back half of Serenity, Mike's clocking in at a humming 0.5.
I love that. I think maybe if you hate children, this wouldn't be fun, but like just having a child on your lap, showing her an airplane, like
I feel like some magical, natural instinct to be
without
excited.
Yeah. Acting, you could just get through that scene, but he's just like, yeah, well, the plane, let me check. I can't do my Michael Caine. There it is.
We both do pretty
You just
bad
have to
Michael
say Michael Caine.
Michael
And then,
Caine.
yeah, I can't do it. Fuck.
Don't worry about it.
Michael Caine, when the houses get big and then it goes, wow, and then they get small. And it's just like, wow, dude, you could have had some real fun with that. And all you're doing is making everyone bummed out.
It definitely 100% looks like the blocking for the scene. It looks like he's like hitting his marks and like, okay, we're done now.
Which is weird because I did a lot of research, and every single review is like, thank God Michael Caine was in this movie to save it.
He's
like,
doing the least work by a long shot in this
everyone
movie.
else is good. I would actually argue that everyone, including
Lorraine Gary is great in this.
Yeah. The dude.
Mari Van Peebles is great. Lance Guest.
Yeah, Lance Guest. He's great. He's like really got those sad eyes working at 100%. And then fucking Michael Caine shows up and just like, yeah, nuns, yeah. He just like has all these weird...
Let me tell you that story about when I flew 100 nuns to Nicaragua.
The last Nairobi.
Nairobi. Wow. Hey, Jaws foreheads, I'm sorry. Don't get the revenge on me.
Like that's the fucking last line of the movie. Yeah, remind me when I get back. I'm gonna talk like somebody else. Fuck, I used to have a really good Michael Caine.
It's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up.
Anyway, that's the last line.
It's not.
They gave the last line of the movie to Michael Caine, and he says, "And remind me next time I see you to tell you that story. I flew 100 nuns to Nairobi."
Yeah, I'll tell you next time. Bye. Okay. Yeah. So he's like just like their fun friend. I doing a little research.
I was gonna.
Okay. I did a little research. And there was an
entire
subplot. Yeah, I'm good at it. It's my crutch.
It's your mouse noise that you've been perfecting for years.
No, I think it's from the escaping sound from Pokemon. Is what I'm trying to. I think what I'm doing.
I never played Pokemon. I was not allowed.
Honestly,
to.
It shows.
Yeah,
Your basic
I know.
lack of empathy, I think, emerges
I
from
lived
that
my
reality.
whole life trying to cover up for the fact that I never played Pokemon.
And you'll never compensate
I
for
understand that. And
Okay, good.
I have to try.
I just want you to know. Okay, so Hoagie originally is like running drugs to the island, and like there's all this Hoagie action. But in this, he serves as the romantic foil for Lorraine Gary to get her groove back. And they really love having Hoagie around to say dumb shit and be like, "We've got to get the water out of the engine.
Yeah.
It's coming
If
around."
we go any faster, we're going to be cut up into a billion pieces.
Yeah, he just says all that dumb shit that
what
someone
the
has to say in the Jaws movies. But yeah, okay, so Lance
He
Guest,
says the bigger boat line too, right?
does he?
He's like, we got to get out there. We need a boat. And now I'm Australian. Fuck,
yeah.
I'm really bad at this today.
Paul Hogan, what are you doing in this? By the way, Paul Hogan would have shredded in this. I would love Crocodile Dundee fights Jaws.
And he's just like, yeah, well, we're going to need a boat and it should be big. And it's like, all right.
That was so underplayed, I missed it.
Yeah, because he's on Quaaludes.
Oh shit! I want to quickly note before you get too far away from this. There's one really great moment of filmmaking in this movie that I loved, where the log that the shark lured Sean Brody out to his death with when they show her leaving and flying off the Bahamas, we cut back to the log
It's
on
so
the beach.
good.
It's so good.
Speaking of vlogs, I had a moment where I was like, I've been watching
I gotta take a fucking shit.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, poop. I was thinking that I've been watching for the first time the reboot of Twin Peaks. David Lynch, I don't think this current director did a bad job, but the David Lynch effect on actors could have matched everyone to the not giving a fuck Michael Caine. And I think it actually could have elevated this to this weird experience. And especially if we're talking like telepathy, just like weird witchcraft and all this shit. Like David Lynch could have done some really cool shit with this movie.
I definitely agree. I think like the idea of like a psychic curse being, again, I suppose in other drafts and possibly the novelization, it's literally a voodoo curse. But without that element, without that explanation, there is this wonderfully fucked up thing where you're like, we all just accept that like this is the Brody's lot in life, is to be fucking tortured by sharks.
Yeah.
And to succumb to that and be warped by it. And so the much of the movie is she goes down to the Bahamas, a shark appears. Basically, Mario Van Peebles and Lance Guest find the shark, and he hides it from his family.
Dude, so
to
good.
study it.
So good.
And because they're not making money studying those stupid big old conch shells or whatever they're doing.
But also, it's like, for the sake of the story, you get a shark attack. People complain. I did some research. People complained, where's the mouse? I did some research. Jesus, God.
He was having a cig, taking a break.
All right. Everyone deserves a break.
I think we all deserve a break.
If
With
you don't
Chesterfield Kings. That's right. When will it end? Sponsored by Chesterfield Kings. Good for your throat, good for your neck. Yum, yum. Tastes good. I'm Don Draper.
That's good. Good for your throat, good for the neck.
Good for the throat, good for the neck.
The outside?
Delicious.
Is that what it is? It's supposed to be like make your outside again?
Yes, it makes your skin glow.
Wow.
The inside is a shit show.
But it's good for it.
Yum, yum.
Fuck, I forgot what I was saying.
We were talking about the strange psychic effects of the film.
I don't even know anymore. God damn it, this is weird. I
think
did some research, and then I actually was saying it, and I made you go back and make the fucking mouse noise. I was going to say the sentence.
Chesterfield Kings.
Who gives a shit, man?
No. Let's take a little. Let's just pause for a minute. Let's imagine
Can we do
we're
some
in the
jazz?
Bahamas.
Yeah, all right. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
Well, I want to be your Hoagie to your Lorraine Gary.
Thank
to
you.
your Ellen Brody, where I take you to the Bahama people doing the dances and the costumes, and you're like, it's beautiful, I love it. But no, psychic fear of shark attacks.
See, this is why I think Michael Caine ruined this movie. Because for me, the heart of this film, as you've been talking about, is a family that hides things from each other in order to appear sane. And the moments where the mother is like really showing it, we're all like, that's crazy. The shark's does not have a personal psychic vendetta against you. And then she learns to stop saying that because everyone's saying that she's wrong. So basically you have this family that's just like
Chief Brody in the first movie where he's like, there's a shark attack and it's gonna be bad, and everyone's like, on the island's like, shut the fuck up, bro, and he does.
Right. And so what we have
And
is
people die.
we have horny people who are not affected by the trauma. Everyone who's not in the Brody family. You have the horny wife, who's great horny wife. I think she was credited as horny wife, right?
She was credited as great horny wife, which I did Google I did.
You did a Google search for
Great horny wife. I found some
How'd that work out for you?
really fascinating materials.
Can you show me later?
I certainly will.
Anyway, so you have that. I really believed in that bond. The like wife who's worried about her husband, but doesn't quite have the courage to talk about it. And the scene where she's yelling at him about the garbage is so good. It's like an actual argument you'd have, like, take out the fucking trash. And he's like, why are we fighting about trash? I said farting. Why are we fighting about trash? And she's like, you're right. But they also never talk about why they're actually fighting. So that's a great unit.
Yeah.
Then you have the other unit.
Oh, and okay.
Which could have been great.
Yeah.
But instead it's fucking Michael Caine not doing acting.
He's flaccid in every sense of the term in this movie.
So what could have worked as parallels were Brody as the I'm doing hands. You got to watch. You got Brody, horny wife, horny man.
You basically did the catechism, I think.
You're right. I'm trying to convert you.
No.
Brody, horny wife, horny man.
That's how priests remember how to cross themselves. Brody, horny wife, Instagram.
The right or left half, depending on where you're looking at me from.
Now you're doing like the windshield wiper move. Yeah, okay.
Doesn't work, which makes the other half less effective.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with this movie. I'm going to go out and say it. This movie could have been really great, except for the special effects, if Michael Caine had been recast as someone who actually wanted to be in the fucking movie.
Right. He's so visibly miserable that apparently he made like $1.5 million and spent 7 days working on this movie. Good for you.
That stupid quote. I fucking hate that quote because I did a lot of
seen
research.
The movie, but I've seen the house it built and it's beautiful.
I've seen my house that my mother lives in. She's probably dead because I don't care about anything except for myself. I'm Michael Caine.
And Master Wayne.
That's true.
That's true.
He does care about Master Wayne.
Well, I think the funniest trivia about this is that he had to miss receiving an Oscar to shoot Jaws: The Revenge.
Fuck Michael Caine. He's a piece of shit.
He definitely look. I get that this is work, and you're at work, and you're the one successful person, and you have to do the least amount of work at the job. But he really does fuck this movie up.
Yeah, and that's hierarchical thinking. Fuck you. The fact that you're like, oh, I'm better than everyone else because I'm fucking Michael Caine. Fuck you.
We were speculating that some people like to get in shape for their beach movie. Michael Caine did not feel that pressure. And secondly, it looks like the wardrobe that he went with was stuff he wore to make the movie, like to travel to the set. Like it looks like he's wearing his own shit.
But this is the problem with franchises, is that you end up losing focus on. Some people really want to make a movie, and other people are in it for the paycheck. Michael Caine sucks. I have a low respect for Michael Caine right now. He took what could have been a good movie and ruined it because he's a fucking selfish piece of shit.
Okay, we talked about one part of the thing that ruined the movie. Let's talk about the other part of the thing that ruined the movie.
Can I say one more anecdote? Because I did some research. There's people are like, there's that continuity error where Michael Caine falls in the water, and then the next scene his clothes are dry. That sucks. But I'm not bringing that up because that sucks because who gives a shit. But also, I read a story that was like, they needed to get the cameras ready, and by the time the cameras were ready, Michael Caine was dry. And like, you know, the story they don't tell is that Michael Caine probably refused to get wet again because he's a shithead. He's probably like, no, I'm not getting wet again. Just shoot it.
This definitely
Michael Caine.
has a real single take vibe to it. Like,
yeah.
It's very hard to imagine him.
Probably because of Michael Caine.
Yeah.
He's a piece of shit.
He sucks.
Fuck him.
Okay,
God
good. We
damn
hate Michael
it.
Caine. Michael, go fuck yourself. When will you end, bro?
Yeah.
When are you going to fucking die, bro? We wake up tomorrow. Michael Caine dead.
But
killed by shark.
That would age the podcast because this isn't going to come out until after the death.
That's true. Yeah. Wow.
By a little bit.
You're right. Yeah, I think it's like hours, really. Okay.
Oh, you think he's going to die in like a month and a half?
I do. Yeah. Okay. So, the other thing that really hamstrings this movie is the much derided special effects, which are terrible. The shark floats like a turd. It doesn't look lively. It looks bad. The first reveal of the shark, when it bumps up against the little window of the little research craft that Mario Van Peebles is piloting, is humiliatingly terrible.
Yeah.
It really is not scary. It looks very silly. It's like a dog, like it's very goofy. And they never really figure it out. There's some good shots with it. At one point when someone gets eaten really dramatically, we kind of loved it. Some really good shots. They pull off some of the shark stuff, but unfortunately, once you've kind of blown the shark as a scary thing, you're really dealing with a big hamstring. And that is a problem.
A big hamstring?
A shark-sized hamstring.
So in your mind, the hamstring is the problem. Not that you have tight hamstrings, or maybe you haven't been dealing with your hamstrings well your whole life. It's just the fact that you have a hamstring.
Well, no, hamstring means you slice someone's hamstrings, like a snap.
Oh, really?
Yeah, hamstring. Yeah.
When you hamstring someone? But you can't just say, I have a big hamstring.
The project was hamstrung by the low budget, for example. That's how you'd use it in the sentence.
Right, that's how you should have said the sentence.
Oh, just shut the fuck up.
What do you think I am, Michael Caine?
Michael Caine.
Don't talk to me like that.
You know,
I'm Michael Caine.
I'd like to travel with only one more passenger, and it's you. Me? I'm tired of having... Wouldn't other little biddies like to slop on that hoagie knob?
Can I give you a kiss that is all hard lips?
I'm tired of one-way conversations.
What did that mean? Do you think he's just like, what was that?
He just talks at her the whole time. Then she's like, you like me? And she's like so emotionally broken and lonely.
So when he says, I'm tired of one-way conversations, that means...
He's been slaying just like easy sexual conquest.
Yeah.
He wants someone a little more brainy, a little more emotionally traumatized,
Right.
a little
Yeah,
more
he wants someone
lonely
he
and
can
shattered.
fix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little project like Ellen Brody. Hold on. There's a lot of horny stuff in the movie. We insisted that we say this in the podcast. There is an amazing moment where Michael Brody's wife is a modern artist who makes a fucking legitimately sick-ass, very 80s modern art piece for the Bahama Islands, which is great. Which sets up a really great crowd shot that has a great reaction shot where a bunch of people just lean over all at once, like in a fucking Three Stooges movie. It's sick.
It was really good.
But she's in her workshop working on her new piece, and she's yelling at Michael about something, and he goes,
Trash.
I've always wanted to make love to an angry welder.
Such a great line.
It's killer.
It was
And
you,
then
you somehow did a worse job than this often maligned actor.
She did great.
He did great. She did great.
I've always wanted to make love to an angry welder.
Such a great line.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting towards the end of the movie here. Again, the plot here, you can get it. There's like fucking the shark attacks people, etc.
Yeah. But I want to talk about the ending.
That's what I'm leading up to.
I want to talk about it.
Okay, well, fucking talk about it.
Because I did some research.
I'm a little baby.
I did some research, and the original ending with the one that was called like the original ending that was
Okay, so the
alternate.
Blu-ray we watched had the replacement ending that's known as the European ending of the film, which features maybe the most infamous thing of the entire Jaws franchise, which once you watch it, you're like, yeah, no, that's actually crazy.
Yeah.
We read a very sweaty argument to set it up, and I'm going to actually pull that up.
Okay. But basically,
why don't you explain the end of
so
Jaws
there's
4?
two different endings. The original ending, which was then swapped for the new ending. I'm going to call it original and new.
Okay.
Original ending was they feed the shark something that makes it hurt a little bit, and then you zap it, and he jumps out of the water and gets stabbed by a boat. Meanwhile, Martin Peoples is dead. Mario Van Peebles, sorry.
Yeah.
He's dead. The ship sinks, and they escape. It's much like in the first film.
But like blood like spurts out of the mouth of the shark. It's really good.
It's good, and it's just like he gets stabbed. The ship
It's extremely
crumbles.
abrupt. We haven't talked about this. Also, a shit ton of stupid flashbacks to Jaws, which are very dumb, and I wish they weren't. In the
I want to
movie.
talk about that too.
Okay.
Fuck, we got a lot to talk about. I think we can go over an hour. We got a lot to talk about.
Hear that? Buckle up, listeners. Okay,
Because this is like the first franchise that we get to talk about. I think. Anyway, so they showed that to test audiences, and the audiences were like, not enough exploding sharks.
No, that was the American ending, and it was such a disaster in America that they were like, okay, we got to punch.
I
up
read
for
that
Europe.
it was okay. Fuck, I did bad research. I thought it was they did test audiences, and they're like, we need more.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, yeah. So my point is that, as we were saying earlier, audiences were just as bad as critics. They demanded the exploding shark,
Right. So,
and that's bad filmmaking.
so the redone ending is wild, where again they spear with flashing back to other moments of shark killing and Ron Schleiber and his moments killing the shark. And Ellen turns the boat and rams its broken prow into the shark, where it promptly explodes. It is very arresting. It is extremely confusing.
Can you tell us why?
Now, I found an IMDb trivia spoiler section explanation.
Were you doing research?
Yes. Okay. This is one sentence. I will now read it as it is written. The shark's head exploding is explained when Jake throws an explosive that's powered by electrical impulses into the shark before he's grabbed by the shark and taken under the water. And later, when the shark is impaled by the broken bowsprit, it in the exact spot where the bomb is, it ignites the bomb, which causes the shark's explosive demise.
I get it now.
That was my Tinder profile, actually.
Oh, so what was the actual explanation then?
That's the explanation.
Oh, and your Tinder profile.
Yeah, I use it for
You
both.
use it for both. That's a great move. Anyone listening, and if you're on Tinder,
It's called recycling. No, but yes. So, a long story short, you should not have to explain something like that. It makes no sense. It is terrible. I get why this movie became a punchline, but again, like, I feel bad because I love the shots of the ocean. I love the colors. I like the mise en scene. I love the movie itself is actually not bad. After Jaws 3, it is a masterpiece. Even Jaws is in some ways less coherent and lumpier and has weirder, less emotionally coherent.
what did you
acting
say
choices.
yesterday?
Okay, what I put yesterday was I think it's very simple and it'll put this whole conversation to bed.
Yeah.
Jaws 3 makes Jaws 4 look like Jaws 2.
Agreed. You can buy the T-shirt soon.
Yeah, t-shirt available, white on blue, I think. White on blue.
White on blue.
Yeah, like
Wait,
Jaws style.
Yeah,
White font, block letters on
That's
a nice,
great.
rich navy blue.
I love it.
Not navy, like a bright blue.
Yeah.
Like the sea.
like a cyan, not a cyan.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We're also going to make sure to say I bend over for Hoagie.
sandwiches.
Hoagie can step in my neck.
Yeah. Oh fuck, good
Yeah,
one.
that's good.
These are good Jaws
I know.
shirts. If you have other good ideas for Jaws shirts, hashtag Jaws shirts.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, Jaws shirts. That's got to be unclaimed territory.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so again, the ending is very abrupt and
Yeah.
it's very inexplicable. I'm really happy to watch the alternate, aka original
Me too.
ending, which is so much better. That being said, it's still a troubled film.
Yeah, it's not a great movie. I think what we were doing is, as you said very nicely, Jaws 3 makes Jaws 4 look like Jaws 2 because we're now dealing in franchising and we've talked already about, budget problems, time problems. We're like, this was not intended to be a good movie. And I think what's really interesting is that people who cared, aka not Michael Caine, everyone except for Michael Caine, wanted to make a good movie. And there are definitely some great elements of this, and it just ultimately fails because it was slapped together with a small budget and just thrown out there because no one cared. The producers didn't care. The fat cats, the Hollywood fat cats, they get a Michael Caine, they're gonna make a profit, they don't care about anything else. But this movie's cool. This is a magical movie. I really enjoyed a lot about it. And I think, as you said earlier, like the fun thing is that they leaned into this. They took some crazy shit and they leaned into it and they made something that was unlike anything else in the Jaws franchise.
Well, if the whole Jaws 3 was like, we're at a resort and there's sexy people, like it's so boring. But this is like, no, everyone's like brutally fucked up to their core by this experience, and now they're actually bonded to sharks in this death dance. It's sick.
There is a scene.
He becomes his father.
There's a scene where Ellen Brody sails a ship into the middle of the ocean to sacrifice herself.
Yeah.
To apologize to the sharks for everything that they've done and to end the killing. That is a scene in this movie, and it's awesome.
But wait, how do they find her?
The shark? Fuck. How can
Hoagie.
I thought you were talking about how the sharks found her.
Well, no, the sharks are psychically bonded to.
Right, I know. I thought you were
Ellen
making
Brody.
a point. Is like people are complaining that like, how can the shark tell the difference between Brody feet and non-Brody feet?
No, that shit's fucking dumb as fuck. What I'm trying to say is that Hoagie is
Hoagie
essential.
saves the day.
He flies his water plane
He crashes his plane
into the water.
into
It's
the
fucking
ocean,
tight. Okay, so
and then dies, but
Yeah.
unfortunately is forced to come back to life.
so this movie that we talked about has some pretty extraordinarily fucked up behind the scenes stuff.
Because we were done. We're like, oh, I wonder what else that girl star, and she was pretty good.
There's a long and delightful trivia section here, but what we found out, okay, so Judith Barcy. Everyone pour out some of your drink for Judith Barcy, who plays...
Should I do that on your office floor?
Please don't do that. No.
No?
They're hardwood. It's going to warp. Don't do it.
That's nice. They're very nice.
you.
All right, I'll do it metaphorically I'll do it down my throat.
Yeah,
Is that that's what people do. They
chug
pour a
stuff.
little bit out, and half the crowd looks around, makes sure no one's
Glug,
looking.
glug, glug, glug,
They
glug.
throw it right down their throat.
Judith Barcy, who plays the daughter of Michael Brody. You did spill some on your shirt, you fucking slob.
It's not spilling. It's condensation.
All right,
Yeah.
fine. I'm going to call it a spill, though. It was one of Judith Barcy's last movies before her untimely death at the age of 10.
How did she die?
After this movie was released. Hold on. Lance Guest, who played her father, Michael Brody, served as one of her pallbearers at her funeral.
Oh my God.
Yes. Now, this is where things get like, I think I maybe knew this story because someone told me it about Ducky from the, I think I've heard this. Okay.
Yeah,
so
she's most famous for being the voice of Ducky. She was gonna have a really
Judith Barcy was in All Dogs Go to Heaven, The Land Before Time. This is all before 10, basically.
she was killing it.
Right. And then She was killed by her father.
Oh, that's true. Bad
She
choice.
was murdered. Yeah, you did a bad job.
She was not killing
Her
it.
nickname was Little One. Oh, God.
Aren't all children's nickname Little One?
Not on their IMDb pages, say that.
That's true.
Wow.
Mine is not.
She's a Gemini like me. Yeah, she was 10 when she died, and she was murdered by her father.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so he basically told the whole world that he was going to kill his wife.
Repeat, was a horrible, abusive, controlling monster nightmare person. Horribly abused this young woman.
There's a quote we did some research, and there's a quote from the LAPD, or was this LA?
Oh, sure.
Who gives a shit? There's a quote from the police being like, well, something about threats. It's like you can't arrest someone for making a threat. Or like we can't protect people from threats.
This is okay. So it's funny. We're sitting right now like in 2019, and we're in an era where people like the DA of Berkshire County just launched a task force just about domestic violence, being like, how can we train people specifically to be like proactively seeking out evidence and signs of like this kind of like 30 years ago, like this cop's like, no way to stop it. There's no way. There's no way.
It's like we're living now in the Me Too era where people are being called to task for things that is problematic and like threatening. Nothing like that's the thing is like there's ambiguity to the way people behave, and a police officer should be there to help you when things are about to go wrong.
Some would argue that's their whole thing,
not after it's gone wrong. And they're just like, nah, you can't do anything about threats.
I mean, he said he was going to kill her like a dozen times, but like, who's to say? Who's to say?
We can't do it. We got no evidence.
Can't do it. Yeah,
Got to wait for the killing.
Then we go back.
Then we go.
Back. We work our way backwards. We're cops.
We're cops.
We're cops. I'm not a cop.
You are a cop.
Oh,
we just said we're cops.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're
we're
right.
cops.
Hey, when you're right, you're right.
Go Boston cops.
No one could have known. No one could have known. Said I was going to kill her a million times, so who's to say?
Gotta wait for the evidence.
You gotta wait.
That's not evidence.
I'm Hoagie. Hello.
I'm still a cop.
I'm Hoagie. I fly a plane. I'm a drug runner, but it was cut from the movie.
Why do you think they cut that?
I'm certain he was just so moribund in the performance that they were like, we can't.
Can't have anything to do with this character.
He barely gets through this.
The kiss
truly
is
terrible.
The worst kiss I've ever seen.
Really awful because she's kind of trying and he's not. And
it's so true.
Awful. It's so bad.
He is a monster. I fucking hate Michael Caine. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this movie. I really hate Michael Caine now.
Yeah, I mean, people joke about phoning and inner paycheck movies, but this is like really writ large a paycheck movie for him. And look, on one level, I get it. There's no prestige to this. It is
then don't
crass.
fucking do it.
Yeah, he's been a
That's
week.
my point. You were talking earlier about like this is a job at the end of the day. Yeah, you know what? You get paid to do a good job. You're not paid to do a job. If you do not want to do the job, don't fucking do it. You
Michael.
know?
Yeah.
Fuck you, Michael.
Yeah. So this brings us to the end of our Jaws series, and so I want to go over. Let's do a little final ranking here of what your favorite movies were.
I like this.
I'm interested in yours. Tell me about it. Like, do you think this was thoroughly explored as a series? What do you think really stood out to you from the 4 movies?
So we did have the land goodness ratio.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't quite get my calculator out, if you catch my meaning.
Bing.
That's a really good distinguishing because I thought that might have turned into the mouse. Very different.
Yeah.
I think this took place on land less than Jaws, but I would still say this is. Oh, fuck! It's really hard to get. I honestly would say this.
I don't know.
It's very hard to compare the two.
The end of the day, Jaws 3, too much land. Jaws 2, a wonderful amount of water, I think.
Right, but I honestly might enjoy. No, I think Jaws is better. At the end of the day, Jaws 1 is better than Jaws The Revenge.
But like honestly, like if you really watch these, I think this is a beautiful movie. There's great colors, there's great performances. Like it has problems, but yeah, it's
Jaws
not better
1
than Jaws.
has problems.
Jaws 1 has
Significant problems.
I guess Michael Caine is the Richard Dreyfuss of Jaws 4.
But in opposition, where Richard Dreyfuss is screaming
doing way
all the
too
time,
much.
waving his arms
Yeah.
every moment he can.
Right. Meanwhile, like Jaws 3, there are almost no notable performances.
There's
Jaws 2,
nothing.
I love the kids and I love Rom Schleigler.
So my ranking, just to rank it, is 2. It's the best. I would say I would give a tie to Jaws 1 and Jaws 4.
Nice. Okay, I'm signing off on that. I love that.
And then 4th place, last place, the worst place, Jaws 3.
A real piece of shit.
Shouldn't even be included.
I have very little.
I love
yeah.
that about Jaws 4 is that they wrote it out. And I don't
Yeah.
know if they did that because they just had to for the story, but I enjoy in my brain thinking that the director's like, that movie sucked. I wanted nothing to do with this franchise. We're going to just get rid of it.
Yeah. Okay, so I honestly I don't have much to add there. I totally agree. I think 1 and 4 are both movies that have some really great stuff and some really difficult things to get through that are frustrating. And Jaws 2 at the end of the day somehow like emerges victorious. It's like really the most enjoyable watch. It's the most coherent and has some of the best shots in it. So yeah, Jaws 2. I'll take
Jaws
it.
2 is
Mazel tov, Jaws 2.
And that's really cool about franchises is that people, I think especially without giving, I bet most people haven't even watched Jaws 2 in order to like don't even bother with it because they've been trained. I think millennials especially, just like our age group growing up in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, were like told by our parents that like, oh, sequels are bad. Sequels are always bad except for The Godfather Part 2. Like, shut up, Dad.
Well, as we got older,
shut the fuck up, Dad.
We were raised realizing that while sequels are trash, prequels are fucking tight.
Yeah.
Because we were the Lucas generation. Old Georgie said, well, we go start at the beginning again.
Let's start at the beginning.
Let's go at the top.
But like franchises aren't new. Like I grew up watching the Thin Man series.
No, but there's like serials. There's like I think like this is like a different idea.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. This is different, but like just cashing in on characters that you like is something that's been happening since fiction was invented.
Yeah, Jaws did not invent that.
No.
I mean, famously, when Arthur Conan Doyle killed off Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, Sherlock Holmes.
The world's finest detective and cocaine addict. He was like, I killed him. He's dead. Phew. I don't have to write that shit anymore. And people are like, Arthur? Write some more fucking Sherlock.
That's all we want out of you.
And now we got Benedict Cumberbatch playing him in a movie on BBC, and he's autistic or something. It's great.
Cool.
Anyway, so I'm with you on that. Let me ask you this. Looking to the future, would you see a Jaws 5, and what would you want out of a prospective Jaws 5?
It's a good question.
I'm full of them.
I really think that the heart of this film series is the Brodies. The shark, like I saw the Meg. The Meg sucked, and I think that's because I had no context for why I should give a shit. But what Jaws 1 did very well was establish a set of characters that have problems that I want to watch. So Jaws 5 should include a Brody. Let's say one thing I really liked, there's a lot of stuff about, female representation in film. I really dig that, even though it was probably because Roy Scheider was going to die. I think this movie, like, this is about an older woman, which movies nowadays still aren't making movies. No one's making movies about older women trying to fuck again, really, and getting terrorized by sharks. So I would say let's get the daughter to be the main star of Jaws 5. Her dad is still alive, hopefully still played by Lance Guest.
Well, I think we never really got a lot of that father. I think it'd be so great if we got some Lance Guest, Rom Schreiber like interaction. That would have been really great.
Yeah. Or the other approach would be a world with no land
and no men.
No, there can be men. Okay. I'm just like water. I guess they already made Waterworld.
They did, and that's considered such a slam dunk that people can't imagine returning to.
Well, let's return. Let's do it. Let's make it right this time. All the land vanished because of global. Fuck yes, write this down.
Okay,
global warming.
We are writing
That's
it
big
down,
right now. Everyone cares about global warming. Global warming.
Not President Cheeto. Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Sorry to get political.
No, that's fine.
President Cheeto don't care. He got fake tan.
Own that. Yeah. No land. Global warming got rid of land. We could have a scene where Trump drowns. That'd be fun.
That's so good.
Yeah. Okay, Trump.
And then the shark's like, I don't even want to eat him because he's a big old Cheeto.
Yeah, because he tastes like cheese.
Yuck, I'm a shark.
I don't want cheese.
That's good.
This is great.
Stuff.
All right.
How about, no, shark eat Trump and spit him out. It tastes bad.
Black.
This is too good.
And he goes, I hate that. Jaws talks in this one.
Yeah.
And he goes, I hate that guy.
Also, what if Jaws vapes? Jaws has a jewel pod.
Yeah. Blowing fat underwater clouds. Are there underwater clouds? There are now. That's going to be the tagline.
Okay, well,
you seen underwater clouds? No.
Not like these,
well,
baby.
Now you will.
Yeah. And of course, this Jaws is gender non-conforming.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not Bruce anymore. Or it can still be Bruce. Did you read the story about Bruce?
No, this is Bruce the rubber shark.
I did the research, and Bruce is named after Steven Spielberg's lawyer.
Oh, well, that's an interesting and compelling narrative.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
I'm happy we know that.
Yeah. Because he's like, no more money for you, Steve. And then everyone on set was like, this shark doesn't work because of Bruce. Let's call it Bruce. That's pretty good.
There we go. This is where Bruce comes from. Well, look, will Bruce write again? We don't know. We're just a couple podcasters watching Jaws, the movie.
But we are going to do another Christmas series.
Get excited.
Die Hard.
Finally, Die Hard again, maybe the ultimate Christmas movie. So if you love the Christmassy vibes of Jaws 4, we're going to the
Jaws
logical
Revenge.
continuation of this would be into the ultimate Christmas film, Die Hard. So
I like it.
I would imagine what John McClane would say about the shark. I've heard of a fish, but fish with teeth.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good
Wait,
stuff.
can I do one?
Yippee-ki-yay, mother sharker.
That's pretty good. Can I do one?
Sure, yeah.
I was going to do that one. Thanks a lot.
Fuck you.
I was going to do that exact one. And I asked you, I thought we had a thing.
And this has been the Jaws miniseries, baby. Stay out of the water and stay crazy. And please rate and review and stuff and email us, please. I'm a shark.